Justice League 19 kicks off with Alfred and Jason Todd discussing the death of Damian in the Batcave. Suddenly, they are attacked from behind. The attacker is an unknown individual who knocks them out and strolls through the Batcave. He finds a secret section and opens it. Inside are briefcases marked with the insignia of each of the different Justice League members. The attacker opens the Superman marked case and presumably finds kryptonite. Later, Batman investigates the break-in. He realizes what has been taken, but both Cyborg and Aquaman are unable to figure out how the intruder entered the Batcave. Meanwhile, Superman and Wonder Woman take on a mission rescuing hostages in Kandak, a country which expressly forbids foreign intrusion. The two discuss their role as protectors of the planet before Batman suddenly arrives. He chides them for breaking international law and tells them that they must better represent the League. He even calls them out for their secret relationship. Batman tells them that as the two most powerful beings on the planet, the fact that they are in a relationship paints a huge target on their back. We also get to see a bit of the new recruits in this issue. Both Atom and Firestorm are summoned to the Watchtower. When they are unable to find anyone else, they start to explore. While doing so, the Watchtower is attacked by the villain Despero.
So we finally have the introduction of Despero to the DCU.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best Justice League-centric villains in the DC universe. I would say he's even more of an archenemy of the Justice League than, say, Darkseid.
I kind of do like Darkseid as a bigger Justice League villain just because Justice League is like representative of the DCU and Darkseid is like
the main. Yeah, I won't argue that he's the end-all bad guy in the universe, but, you know, he'll fight Superman one-on-one at times, he'll fight other people one-on-one. But Despero just has a burning desire to defeat the Justice League. So for those of you who don't know, Despero, he was a villain before the New 52, kind of has magical powers, he has telepathy, super strength, all that good stuff, and he's gone against the Justice League multiple times, single-handedly fighting them.
Though I wonder what his origin story is going to be here, because in the old DCU, he had so many different iterations.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to really shape his character now. At the beginning of this issue, we see the Batcave, and Alfred and Red Hood are assaulted by someone who appears to be wearing the Insider suit.
Yeah, the Insider was actually Batman before the New 52, right after he came back from the dead. And I don't know, do you think this is Batman here as well?
There's just so many possibilities of who this could be. If it's not Batman using it, it's like, did someone else develop it? Did someone else steal it from Batman?
That's a good question. One reason I think it might be Batman is when he had to use like the retinal scan, it didn't like appear like he had to do anything special. Yeah. And he also knew exactly where the secret vault was located.
So there's multiple possibilities of why it could be Batman. Then obviously Despero has mind control capabilities. So perhaps Despero's controlling Batman.
Yeah, that's a definite possibility. I was actually thinking that Batman wouldn't be in his right minds because he kind of brutally attacks Alfred, which is not the sort of thing I would think he would do. There's too much respect for the guy.
Another possibility is that perhaps it's Clayface. In the most recent Batman issue, we see Clayface sort of mimicking Bruce, and he's also shown that he now has the capability to really just take on basically the DNA.
Yeah, he can perfectly replicate anyone.
Yeah, and if that's the case, and this is like in the same sort of time frame, it's possible that Clayface is working with Despero, and it could all tie into the secret society that's possibly forming.
I'm actually going to throw out another possibility, is that this is all just a test by Batman. The name of this arc is War Games, so perhaps in some way he is trying to see if these new recruits are up to par and really just test the resolve of the Justice League.
If that's the case, it would mean that Despero is either being used by Batman or Despero has a very different backstory than what he previously had.
Or he could just be an outside actor. It could be three different events colliding.
But Despero has the ring at the very end.
That's a good point.
Unless Batman just gives it to him. That'd be a pretty dangerous thing to just hand out to a very powerful person unless you had really...
had definite control over them.
Yeah. Another thing we see in this issue is Wonder Woman and Superman's relationship is finally discussed by Batman.
Yeah, he finally calls them out on it, and he even says that the rest of the Justice League kind of knows what's up as well.
The most interesting thing he says is that everything they do together, it's kind of, they're doing it as representatives of the Justice League. So it's like a whole PR issue.
Right, and on top of that, he points out, now that they're a couple, everyone is afraid of them, and it paints a massive target on their back. We saw that with Amanda Waller, being incredibly fearful of them in Justice League of America #1. So I think what Batman is trying to warn them of is the fact that they're seen as an extension of the Justice League and they now have a target on their back, it paints a target on everybody's back.
Though, what I wonder is, do you think it's a target from these governments that are afraid, or is it like villains are going to start targeting them more now?
I think it's everyone, to be honest, because whether you're a government or a supervillain, you should be worried. Like, what if they have a kid? That kid is going to be, even more of a god than Superman.
Do you think this is the beginning of the end for their relationship?
I'm not entirely sure. One thing that Wonder Woman specifically says is we should just use our powers to change things for the good, no matter what. And then Batman immediately points out that's what supervillains say. And even Clark Kent didn't really seem to go along with that sentiment. Do you think that shows like a rift in the relationship, or?
I don't know if that's going to be the rift. When you have adversity in a relationship, I think it only brings you closer together.
We also saw a little bit of Adam and Firestorm in this issue. I thought it was kind of cool at the start how Adam was playing like an MMO and she seemed to be like inside of it. But at the same time, being a superhero is almost like playing an MMO as the character.
That's why she left, right? The first thing they're going to go up against, though, is Despero, and I think as a recruit, that's pretty tough. They were there to just sort of get like an orientation of the place.
Yeah, Despero is no easy first challenge. But I think it would be really cool if the two of them fought Despero and beat him. It really reminds me of Grant Morrison in his Rock of Ages arc, where he had the Atom and Green Arrow fight Darkseid, and they beat him, which was just so fucking awesome.
And it's kind of fitting because when the Justice League first came together, they faced Darkseid. Like, when they're first working on how to become a team, they face this huge villain. And if these guys are new recruits to the team, it's kind of cool that they're facing also just a big villain. Because it's like the big leagues.
And it'll bond them.
Mm-hmm.
So as a grade for Justice League number 19, what would you give it?
I give the issue a 4 out of 5. Like always, I love Ivan Ray's art, and the mystery surrounding who the insider is and what Despero's real plan is, I'm kind of intrigued.
I'm going to give this issue a 4.5. The fact that there was this mysterious character that may or may not be the insider, may or may not be Batman, could be Clayface, we don't even know at this point. The fact that there's so many possibilities makes me look forward to the next issue a lot.
Thanks for watching B3 Comics' review of Justice League number 19. Before we go, we have a question for you.
So in this review, I brought up the fact that Despero might be the Justice League's greatest villain. Kurt thought it was Darkseid. Who do you think is the best Justice League villain?
Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Like always, like what you see, give us a thumbs up.